Have you ever wondered if scientific and medical discoveries are in fact nothing more than rediscoveries of past? Here are a lot of examples. For example, vaccination is described a long time ago, thousands of years ago, in one of the Vedas, namely in the Sachava Grantham. The text in question was quoted by Moreau de Jewett on October 16, 1826. In his Memoir sur la variolous, presented to the Academy of Sciences, collect fluid from the purulent pimples on the tip of a scalpel and prick the arm so that the fluid enters the blood. A fever will occur, but the disease will weaken and there will be no reason for alarm. This is followed by a precise description of the symptoms that will be observed. Regarding anesthetics, we can consult a work by Denis Papin, written in 1681 and entitled Operation Without Pain, which in turn is based on old Chinese experiments with Indian hemp or the therapeutic use of mandrake wine, well known in the Middle Ages and completely forgotten in the 17th century, whose effects were studied by a certain Dr. Oriol from Toulouse in 1823. No one bothered to verify the results obtained. But what about penicillin? Here we can mention, for a start, an empirical remedy also used in the Middle Ages, namely the effects of Roquefort cheese. But there is something even more extraordinary. Ernest Duchesne, a student at the Military School of Health in Lyon, presented, on December 17, 1897, a thesis entitled Contributions on the Hostile Influence in Microorganisms, the Antagonism Between Molds and Microbes. This work describes experiments showing the action of Penicillium glaucum, on bacteria. This thesis did not attract attention either. It is worth emphasizing this blatant case of a forgotten discovery, since it was located around modern times, in a period when bacteriology was experiencing a particular flourishing. Let's talk about oxygen. Its particularities were studied in the 15th century by an alchemist named Eck of Sulzbach. Even earlier, Theophrastus, in the 4th century BC, had already stated that a flame is supported by an aeriform body, an opinion shared by Clement of Alexandria. In Nuremberg, a certain Johann Hout was actually building carriages with spring suspension in the 17th century. In 1645, a vehicle of this type was tested on the temple grounds, but the company founded to capitalize on this innovation died in the womb. Christopher Columbus was twice inspired by the chorus of Act 2 of Seneca's Medea, which speaks of a world destined to be discovered in the centuries to come. Copies of Columbus can still be consulted today in the Library of Seville. It was not only Seneca that Columbus remembered, but also Aristotle, for his observations on the sphericity of the Earth in De Silla. The history of the gold mines in California is as incredible as it is true. In June 1848, Marshall found, for the first time, nuggets in a stream of water that had been leased to him for the construction of a mill. But it is known that Fernando Cortez had also been there, looking for those Mexicans who were reported to be in possession of a considerable treasure, although he turned the district upside down. Although for almost 3 centuries afterwards, bands of Spanish missionaries kept looking for El Dorado, the city of gold, and nothing came to light. And yet, in 1737, 100 years before Marshall, an article in the newspaper Gazette Hollandie commented on the fact that there were gold and silver mines in Sonora, to which the newspaper gave the precise coordinates. Moreover, in 1767, a book entitled History Natural and Civil of California was being sold in Paris, in which the author Burial described the gold mines in question and gave testimonies of navigators regarding the gold nuggets. No one gave importance to either the newspaper article or the book, although a century later, Marshall's discovery gave rise to that famous gold rush.